welcome to Ink and Bytes, your one-to-one marketing tips for marketing professionals. I'm your host, Andrew Glover. A little bit of background on myself. I am a marketing professional with 10 years of marketing experience. Most recently, I've been working a lot with one-to-one marketing. However, I also have a breadth of experience from photography and working as a creative director as well as the strategic end, working right this second as the Vice President of Business Development and Marketing Strategy at Valtim Marketing Solutions, who is awesome enough to be sponsoring this endeavor. So today's topic is talking about leveraging third-party data. One of the things that is just absolutely vital in any kind of one-to-one marketing endeavor is understanding the data and leveraging the data that you have. So today we'll be talking about ways to take your current data, expand the breadth of it so that it can be used to create, real powerful and effective marketing campaigns. So this can be accomplished by leveraging third-party data sources and augmenting any kind of list that you have, whether that's a prospecting list that you've purchased or a house list that you have on file already. We're going to talk about ways to build better segmentations, better customer personas, and of course, better creative and call to actions. So as with always, let's talk about a little bit of definition of terms. What is third-party data? Third-party data is any information collected by an entity that does not have a direct relationship with the user. The data that the data is collected on. Often this is third-party data that's been generated on a variety of platforms, a variety of websites, and then it's aggregated together by that third-party data provider. So let's kind of reverse back and talk about first-party data. First-party data is the data you collect on your own audience through your own sources. Those are surveys that you do of your customers, information that your customers provide in any means, and we'll get to that a little later. Second-party data is slightly different. Second-party data consists of first-party data collected by another organization. So that's like a lot of times your partner organizations or partner companies that give you their data on their customers. That's slightly different than third-party data, where the third party has zero relationship relationship with the customer or the user that their data is being reported on. So let's talk a little bit about how to use this data. And really the best place to start when we talk about using this data is to start with the data that you have yourself, depending on your CRM that you use, depending on what type of organization or business or company or whatever you're marketing, you're going to have a set of data. A lot of times if it's a nonprofit or a business and you're selling goods or you're collecting donations, there's a billing address, right? So you collect that billing address and you don't really think anything of it until you realize, wow, I have their location. Well, that's location data, and you can use it. Location data is so vital because you can use it to cross-reference and project trends from the third-party sources that you'll acquire. Other data that you have is affinity data. That's the data that you collect that talks about and discusses how your user, how your customer, how your member, donor, whatever it is, how they interact with your organization. Why are they a member of your organization? You can get at this information by looking at the data trends of this individual. Which websites which website pages are they visiting? What information are they requesting from the user? Do you have multiple business lines and you have one customer that's inquiring about a single line of data or a single line of products? If you're a nonprofit, maybe what marketing campaigns have they responded to in the past? Maybe they respond to one call to action or one type of messaging better than another in your split A/B testing. Well, track that because that's affinity data and can be used, and that you can also cross-reference that when you go to build personas with third-party data. A few other options, so depending on your organization, you might have first-party data from incoming on income. And if you don't have income data, I'll show you how to get that income data in a few minutes. And then, of course, gender data. This gender data, you go, well, I don't ask you if you're male or female, but one way that you can get at this from a first-party perspective is in any forms, have them fill out that solicitation, Mr. John, sample, Mrs. Jane Doe, whatever it is, by just having that salutation in the form capture that you get your users to submit their information on. Now you can capture their gender. Of course, when you're building your messages, you need to, of course, have fallbacks. So let's go to the next one. So that's the foundation is start with the information that you have. Beyond that, you need to then go to your second and more importantly third-party data sources to really augment that house list that you have. The other thing that you could be augmenting is a prospecting list. If you went out and bought a really generic prospecting list, first name, last name, and their address, you need ways to augment that list using third-party data sources to make a more effective call to action, a bit more effective targeting, more effective segmentation. So there's a few places to get third-party data. The biggest one that you can go to is honestly government sources, especially, and then I'm talking specifically to United States businesses here. The government collects a lot of information on a lot of different people, and although it's not PII information, it's not personally identifiable information, it's pretty close to it because a lot of the tracking that they provide is on what's called the block level. And the block level is based off of census data, and it gets really complex. But bottom line, let's talk about an example here. As I recently had a case where a telecom organization contacted me and said, we want to be able to market to organizations or to people who do not have good broadband internet. And you go, well, I can't tell who does and doesn't have good broadband internet, except that the government does. So what we did is we took a prospecting list, and we can then layer over that FTC broadband reports that report on the block level, not just zip code level, but even areas within the zip code. And then we purged anybody that had a certain level of broadband, and that was a government source, the FTC broadband report. There's other reports out there, especially the census data provides income information, and then on the block level you can get down to certain neighborhoods, of course, have higher income levels, and you can kind of build models off of that. So if you're looking for, as a nonprofit, how much should I ask an organization, or how much should I ask this entity to donate, take a look at their income, match the addresses to income block level details, or even income zip code level details is really popular. We're here in the Lynchburg, Virginia area, and we have a few area codes that are higher income area codes compared to others. So you can go at state level, city level, zip code level, block level. There's a lot of other third-party sources out there. If you're a member of an industry group, a lot of times those industry groups do their own research and provide their members that research, and you can leverage the data from your industry organizations and augment that list and attach more information to the users based off of the information you're able to pair with those other sources. And then the last place, of course, is a data broker or a third-party data provider. These are people who specialize in data provisions. A lot of times they'll try to sell you their own lists, and depending on your application, that might be a really good option because they'll do all the augmentation and stuff for you. Or you may want to just be able to match your current list against their data that they've identified. So for instance, InfoUSA does a lot of affinity data on not just personal wealth, but specific interests. People who have a specific interests in shopping, or specific interests in sports, or specific interests in whatever it is. And if you can augment your data to be identify maybe the sport nuts versus the tech nerds, you can craft your message and target your lists based off of that information. You can target it not just on direct mail, the address, but if you're tracking IPs, you can then do IP targeting based off of that new persona that you built. So really cool stuff on where to get third-party data augmentation stuff. So then that leads us kind of to the final portion of this, is how to effectively use that third-party data. And I cannot stress this enough. Your third-party data that you're using in your marketing campaigns needs to be a team effort. Get out of your silos. Your data people are really intelligent people. They get data analysis, like you can pick out trend lines and stuff like that. Data is great, but without the storytelling from your creatives, it's often ineffective. So data analysts need to work with creative minds to develop the powerful marketing messages. So get out of your silos. You need to get really good team mojo going on, and have your data people work with your creative people to really hone in on the personas that they're building, hone in on the marketing messages that you work out in the segmentations and stuff like that, and build stories around that partnership of your data and creative departments. So once you have your story outlined, the next thing, also work, same partnership there, is work to take your segmented story and make it personal. This should incorporate not only the segment specific messaging, but also individualized content. So for instance, when you're referring to geographic regions, try to refer to geographic regions that the consumer is from. Refer to the population at large as Virginia residents or Lynchburg City residents versus, just kind of members or customers are interested in this. Say customers in Lynchburg, Virginia are interested in this. Or if you're a conservative, one way that we really did this was really cool, is we matched voting population on the zip code level, and based off of a conservative or a liberal viewpoint, we changed the call to action based on the city's voting record, so that join the other 30,000 conservative voices in your community, or fight against the 50,000 liberal votes in the last election. And we really made that hyper local. We still had the segmented story, the segmented approach, but we then took it one step level and made it more individualized. So really that's all data that wasn't available on a prospecting list, but we took it and matched it to a third-party data augmented list. So we discovered the voting records for a city based off the location, which we had from the first-party data, and the campaign ended up doing really successful. So wrapping it up here, really what we need to talk about is the lack of first-party data is no longer an excuse for the spray and pray marketing method. You can't just create one single message, blast it all, that one single message to everybody, with the excuse of saying, well, I don't know who my audience is. That's an excuse that I have a lot. Hear a lot is, oh, well, I bought this prospecting list and it's the only list I have, and I don't know any other information about the people and the names on this list, whether you're prospecting on the digital channels or direct marketing, direct mail channels. Those excuses are out the window. You can augment your lists with second and third party data. There's no more excuse for spray and pray. At bare minimum, you need to have personalization. Ideally, you have individualization on multiple market segments. So that's wrapping up our discussion on leveraging third-party data. And of course, this discussion would not be possible without Valtem Marketing Solutions, who is sponsoring this webinar series. Valtem Marketing Solution really started 30 years ago. They have 30 years experience as a fully integrated back-end marketing logistics provider, providing direct mail, call center, digital marketing, data management services. Their real focus is direct mail and direct response, and large nonprofit membership organizations. They process 2.5 million records per month, $65,000 hour capacity, and a 99.8% accuracy. If you want more information, definitely reach out to me. Other than that, guys, have a great day.